Hi guys, welcome to this episode. Is going to be just random nonsense between me and my friend Charles. So we're going to be discussing is anapenda Ruto. Sasa tusikie vile itaenda. Karibuni sana.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us for this episode. I'm joined in by someone that I don't consider very smart. He has the beard for it. Obviously, he's one of the sharpest guys I know. So, this is in jest.
The beard makes up for the lack of smartness.
Yeah. Akili ni nywele. Nazo mingi mno sana. His name is Charles Gashango. Charles, say hi to the guys.
Hi guys. It's my first time here, so it's because I don't know how to introduce myself. I know I'm up for a good grilling and a good beating.
Yes. And the reason for this, guys, is very, very simple. In the previous election, I don't know if me admitting this on online is gonna, cut me out from possible government positions. Ruto might want to consider me for a position like,
You just change your name to Kipyegon.
But Charles was an incredible UDA supporter. Charles, tell us. Charles, tell us why were you so pro UDA?
Let me start by I don't think there is any way I can say this that will not get me in trouble. I was not a pro UDA. I'm not an ardent UDA supporter.
But you had a t-shirt. Right? You had a t-shirt printed.
Okay. Now the slander is coming in fast. Anyway, I am of the opinion that in the last election, we had two very bad people running for president. And I think one was the lesser devil to be, just the same way you think another person was the lesser devil to you. So it's not, I'm not going to die for Ruto. I don't know why anyone would die for Ruto. I also don't know why anyone would die for Raila. I don't mean the literal dying, but going the extra mile to Kuatetea. No. I'm not going to do any of that. I know there are very many shortcomings. Even now, we can see it. Even me, when I see things that Ruto does, I'm not impressed.
You're jumping the gun, Charles. We are starting from the beginning.
No. I have to say this first because it's not it's the same way if Raila had won this election. He would be making policies right now that would seem very funny. I know he had promised, for example, to make Joho the Minister of Lands. He had promised 6,000 to people. Those were very unrealistic things that he had promised. And we all knew this.
So providing free internet to the entire country to you was realistic?
No, you see, the thing is, these are politicians. And to be honest, this is a sad thing to say. But we sadly don't expect honesty from politicians when they are campaigning. And that's a sad thing to admit. Mm-hmm. But we are both of age right now. We know that these people lie for a living. Sometimes they oversell things. And when I hear them say some things, I know they're not going to do it. I know, for example, there's not going to be free internet. The same way I know you can't give 6,000 people money per month.
No, Babacare was going to help a lot of women in this country, Charles. Babacare was.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
For example, let me give you an example.
What do you mean? What do I mean?
No.
It was right in the manifesto.
Let me give you better context. Moretti, you and I both know. We both knew since the Uhuru days, the time when there were subsidies in fuel. We knew this country was in deep trouble.
But Charles,
debt-wise, and we knew that was just a masking of the problem back then.
Thanks for bringing that.
So we knew. No. Just a minute. So we knew if anybody who's keen and understands things, we all knew that this country, after the elections, we were in for a tough ride.
You see, Charles,
because we were in a mess. We were already in a mess.
On your head and your face, and akili wanasemanga ni nywele. But I'm beginning to doubt this because, Charles, are you trying to insinuate that allowing blatant, obvious election lies, manipulative election lies to be permissive?
Yes. Yeah? No. God, I'll allow, Charles.
You see, the problem
No, Charles. Charles,
I hear your question.
I didn't even bring up the question, Charles.
Your question.
Charles, you don't even know the question and you're already answering it.
Okay.
And this is a very characteristic with UDA supporters. It's something that you see.
Okay, just finish then.
No. You see, Charles, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something that you need to understand. First of all, you have to admit that you are sold snake oil and you bought it in tanks. You ordered tanks and life-saving supply of snake oil, and because of sunk cost fallacy, you're not willing to admit that you messed up.
Personally, okay, I know there was
Also, I can't take it seriously with that beard, but continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was snake oil being sold. You see, the thing is, that kind of stuff, you don't sell it to everyone. Some people know when...
See, admit that. As in the demographic that bought it.
Yeah, of course. You
But
see,
someone you bought it.
Moretti, I'll give you an example. There was a time I went to get my shoes cleaned somewhere. Don't know, I think I've told you this story
Who was
before.
cleaning Gashagwa?
That was before the elections. And then there's an MCA campaigning around that place. And then people suddenly started going around him. And then they would ask him, utatujengea barabara, utatulipia, will you give us bursary for this and this and that? And this MCA was saying yes to everything. And this MCA knows very well he has no power to build roads or anything. He can only lobby for those things. But when you think about it, what if he says no?
So
what if he says, I can't build you roads, I can't give your children bursaries?
So what are you saying, Charles?
I'm saying there's the way politicians handle themselves. And I think again, it's the sad reality, but this is actually what happens. When a politician stands up and says, I'm going to give you 6,000 per month, and he's not told you what's the criteria to know who's going to receive this 6,000, how long is it going to be given, and then they also, you have to ask yourself, if it's 2 million, is it 5 million? How they choose the old women or the young men?
You see,
things like that. No, just a little bit. Just hold on.
Okay.
Politicians, when they're on the campaign trail, they know the lies they sell to you,
not to
me, another group. No.
You.
Yeah, I know.
You bought it. I didn't.
And you know the problem.
We have an economist in the house.
No. Okay, fine. We'll get to
no.
The problem here is to see as to I must admit, I think Ruto says some ridiculous stuff. Even nowadays, he does say some ridiculous stuff. He's over the board.
This is your guy.
But
Charles, you should be proud.
Just a moment.
You help put him in
power. But I also don't think the other side of the aisle says reasonable stuff either.
Charles, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Are you saying Babacare is not reasonable?
Okay, Moretti, just...
Charles,
no. Let me ask you a question.
Are you not supporting
Let me ask you a question.
Charles is not... Let's go on record. Charles does not support women being taken care of by the government.
But the 6,000 was not just for women. It was also for young men who don't have jobs.
No, he was also going to support women.
But let me ask you, for example, 6,000. What is the criteria to choose the 6,000? How long are you going to give out that 6,000? And this is not for the old people, this is for the young people. And you also have to ask yourself...
So you don't support young people?
Just a minute. This is the classic kind of CNN interviews. And Fox News.
Huh?
Anyway, but you see, you have to ask yourself some questions. 6,000 shillings, or how long are you giving it for? How do you choose? And then in a country like Kenya, how do you ensure that money does not fall into corruption? Like, people don't steal it and people are disadvantaged.
Let me answer your question. This is how you do it. But before I answer that...
No. Let me add one thing to that question. How do you give 6,000 in the prevailing economic times?
Through M-Pesa, obviously.
No, where are you going to get that money? Where are you going to get that money?
No.
Also, Moretti, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there are some analysis that was done in the 1960s.
1960s, Charles.
Just a minute.
You know what was happening in 1960s?
Could you just give me a minute?
Okay.
And this I might be wrong.
Obviously,
but this was when...
You are wrong with Ruto.
This
I
was
wouldn't be surprised if you're wrong also on this.
This was when there was a president called Lyndon, I think B. Johnson, and there was this program to give black families some stipend.
So you don't like black people?
No. And from what people have said, from what I've heard and read, it kind of negatively affected those households because it developed a kind of lethargy in some of them even to get jobs.
Wow.
When you get money, you
This
have
guy
not
has
worked
been
hard
watching
for.
Fox News
No.
a lot.
When you get money, you've not worked hard for. And
Charles.
remember, even during COVID,
That's racist.
even during COVID, when people were getting money from the government in the US, people actually resigned because the money they were getting is more than the money they would get at work. And if you have work, you're not going to get that money.
But it's Charles.
No, just a minute. So here you're telling people who probably make 1,000 or people who live under $1, telling them you're going to give them 6,000 shillings a month. You see, you're basically propelling some kind of let's not go to work, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting 6,000, and to be honest, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's going to be the way people will approach that 6,000.
Yes.
But there's a likelihood someone knows they're going to get 6,000.
Yes.
And this is someone who's productive, who ought to be working, and they'll not be working. I can see Ben Day is agreeing with me.
So listen.
Because he sees the sense in
First
this.
of all, there's no Ben in this
no.
room. I don't know you're getting this.
Oh, sorry. But
You have imaginary friends in the room.
No. But you see, because this podcast it has Kizo and I was saying in public, I'm saying that very carefully. I'm saying these are the potential consequences of giving people free money. It may not always turn out as positively as you think it will turn out.
But so what's the difference between what Baba was proposing and the free money that Ruto gave us in the way of Hustler Fund?
Okay,
because just you've been speaking for a minute, let me answer. Let me ask.
You're asking yourself a question and you're answering. But you already know that is fake news you're giving because that was not free money.
No.
That was money you're getting as a loan. You will pay back.
People are not paying that back. There's no framework.
It's okay if people are not paying back.
Of that money.
Yeah, but
right?
if you're not paying back, you're not getting another loan.
But now the other thing also, Chelsea, you need to understand, and I want you to understand it very, very clearly, because clearly we have a problem. You know why there are some people think not everybody should be able to vote because of people like Charles. We should have like a college of people who vote for.
No, Moretti, I think you are now. These are side shows. Why don't you engage me in the issues that we are talking about?
Because
I've just given you an example of what 6,000 can do to people's lives. It can contribute positively or negatively. And the fact that we have debt we cannot pay and we're still giving people 6,000.
Just let me tell you one thing.
Give me a response to that. Don't tell me about we have a college or
what. Let me give you a response. Allow me to give you a response.
I'm waiting for you to give me a response.
Point number one, and I want you to understand this very clearly, Charles. It will help you. Is that one? When we have an economy that is against the people, first of all,
you mean like the economy? No. Like the economy that was about to shut down Keroche.
Let me answer. No. If you're not paying your taxes, how comes even the Ruto government itself, the KRA under Ruto, is still running after Keroche? It's because
do you really think Keroche was being shut down because it was not paying taxes? Do you really think that was the case?
Just let me answer your question.
Moretti, are you really living in this country?
Unasomanga news zako kwa mpasho. Let me
No.
Let me tell you.
Even you Kabengo. Look. Does anyone really think
honestly,
that was a case of not paying taxes, or was it politically motivated?
No.
You see, Moretti,
I'm trying to answer your question.
Don't feed your audience with Jabba juice.
Charles, listen. Sasa umeanza matusi na sasa.
See matusi, it's because I see you are intentionally like shortchanging your reasoning.
Charles,
I don't know why.
Charles,
I'm sorry, but I think that's what you're doing.
Let me tell you what is happening. When it comes to economics, Charles, one thing you need to understand is that, first of all, debt is never a problem. Having debt is not a problem. What?
Say Uhuru Kenyatta.
First of all, let me tell you, everybody knows that I was a huge fan of Uhuru Kenyatta, and nobody will never convince me about love. Anyway,
let me ask you a question about Uhuru. No, let me ask you a question about Uhuru. Can you tell me where Eurobond went? I just want to know because we are almost paying Eurobond, and I don't know what tangible thing I can see it.
I'll give you an example of you brought in, and I have an economist in the house, so I want to be very careful. So, we studied in Vanderbilt, not some random MKU university. So, okay, sorry for the MKU audience. Yeah, university is one of the best in the country. So anyway.
Well, that question I asked about Eurobond.
Can I answer your question?
A lot of people are asking that question.
Of course, a lot of people are even asking you if Bigfoot exists, but doesn't mean that doesn't. People asking questions is not new, Charles. It's something that has happened. It's a basic tenet of our communication structure. People asking questions, but one thing you'll need to understand, Charles, and it's a failure of the Ruto's government, is that a lot of economic theories are theories for a reason. It's because if you try to make them not theories by experimenting on them, the repercussions can be very dire. For example, let me build my point. That's the first thing. There are theories because trying to experiment on them can be very dangerous. Now we've given
what you said. What you said is theoretical. Give us examples. You're talking about theories.
I'm trying to build to a point.
Okay, then give us a practical.
There's a difference between talking to someone who went to Vanderbilt and some random university in Georgia. Anyway,
listen, give us a tangible example.
I'm trying to make a point. Allow me to make my point.
Okay, give us another theory then.
So, nakwambia akili si nywele, by the way, honestly. It's very clear. But anyway, so all I'm saying is this. Now we've given someone like David Ndii to run our economy. He has taught economic theories his entire life. He has written papers on this. Now we've given him the keys to the city to experiment these theories with people's lives. A lot of these things that we're seeing right now is a result of someone who is very, very theoretical. And I get it. Sometimes you try some things and they work beautifully, right? There are very many examples globally of people who tried new things and they work. But also, the disaster that is happening right now in Turkey, right?
You know, it's funny. No,
Charles,
I have to interject
Charles,
here.
I've not interrupted.
You know, it's
you
funny
in
how in
making your
2017, if Raila would have been president, David Ndii would have been his economic advisor. And at that point, people didn't have a problem with it.
No.
We just have a problem with it right now because he's on Ruto's side.
Because, Charles, Ruto, let me not go there, but my point is this, Charles. In 2017, I was not supporting Baba.
I don't care, but David Ndii was supporting Baba.
No, so that's my point is, you can see how much I repel David Ndii when he's on someone's side.
But when David Ndii was on Baba's side, you guys were perfectly okay with him with all these theories and all these shenanigans.
I was okay with David Ndii when he was not born. Like, I was okay with him when he did not exist in
to be honest, that point of David Ndii does not even hold.
Because
that's hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy on every one of you.
Ruto's government is a government that is trying to introduce 16%. Today, if your house burns and you have insurance on it, it's going to be worth less 16%. This is the genius of David Ndii. This is a government that is proposing our 3% house levy.
The debts have to be paid.
It does not matter.
The debts have to be paid somehow.
It does not matter if you have a house.
No, the debts have to be paid somehow.
Assuming I want to live under a tree. Like me, I've always wanted to live under a tree my whole life. I have to contribute the 3%, and at the same time, you force my employer.
I think the problem here is
contribute the 3%.
The problem here is
this
that
is the kind of theories that we're experimenting on Kenyan life.
The problem here is that you think I support all of those
things. Theories
things.
are very expensive to experiment on.
Depends on
economics, you know that.
Depends on which political side you are on.
No.
Because if Raila was president, David Ndii was his economic advisor, you don't have a problem with those theories.
That would be Harry Haas and Joho. Is that?
But I think it's more just to be sincere. What I just said, David Ndii was once an ardent Raila supporter.
But at that time, I'm telling you, I was not Raila supporter.
It's okay.
Because
I'm not
I don't
saying,
believe
but you
in
say,
the things that David Ndii is saying.
I've not said you are a Raila supporter. I'm just saying at that point, wherever you are, I don't know where you are.
Uhuru's side.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if he had won the presidency, maybe not the exact same policies, but his policies would have been getting implemented.
But
right?
I would have still been contrarian to them with the same vehemence I am with at the moment.
It's okay. I'm just saying that I don't see his attacks being justified. They're not objective. I just think it's... And you see the thing with policies, we've not given them time to see where they take us.
No, in 6 months, actually, the trust radio that took over England and destroyed it within 40 days like Alibaba.
You know, Mureti,
you destroy an economy that is as
And that's the good thing. That's
as
the
resilient as the UK within. So it's very possible to destroy an economy in less than a year.
you see
That's
the
my
thing
point.
is that's the beauty of democracies. What happens is the Bindi is here and Ruto has decided to trust him. If he messes up this country, we are all messed up, and in 2027 we are not giving them a second chance. If things go well, then it means 2027 they're probably going to get another chance. So we've tried something. In my own opinion, I think if Raila had been president,
So naive.
it would have been an extension of
Almost cute.
Uhuru's presidency, to be honest, and that's why I was not ready to experiment on those policies for another 5 years.
Your naivete is almost cute until someone realizes you're like 32 years old and they're like,
It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
It's okay. But what I'm really saying is, I was not ready to experiment on Raila's policies, given the way he had changed from who he was in 2027 to 2022. If he had been the Raila
2027.
to 2017, the Raila in 2017, I don't believe was the same Raila in 2022.
What
That's
happened?
why
What
it
changed?
was- I think his affiliation with Uhuru and
So your
the way
problem is Uhuru.
yeah, you see that notion that you have to join the system to be the system, and in the process, like being the person who's defending government, even though the government at that point was doing horrible stuff.
So your
For someone,
problem,
even for people who are previously Raila supporters, you get chills when you see him, his dalliance with Uhuru, and the fact that things were not going so well during COVID. People were getting evicted from their homes. It was such a mess, and they were trying to force BBI on us and Manamba on us. And you see this guy, the guy who's been championing. Just chill. When you see the guy when you see the man championing for people's rights, suddenly becoming the person
Dennis
who.
Itumbe, but I'm just asking you a question.
No,
Charles.
Moretti, what I'm saying is actually not.
What was the problem? Give me objective reasons why you think Huduma was a bad thing because you brought Huduma number. Why do you think BBI was a problem? Give me objective reasons why you think these were problematic.
Okay. First of all, there was such a hurry to pass BBI. Okay, not even before getting to that point, the way the government.
Oh, so now we have a problem.
Could you just chill?
With passing the BBI, but we want to pass the further the taxation. We want to pass them within minutes.
Let me give you better context. At that time where Kenya was, we were going through the COVID challenge, right? We were being locked down and all those things. And then there is this BBI thing that has come, and it suddenly seems like we don't have a problem with COVID, but only to select people. It's the way the government handled itself around that time that was really upsetting. The fact that some people are getting preferential treatment, the fact that we here in Northlands.
Also, we have
could you
problem
just chill?
with preferential treatment.
Can you just chill?
Okay.
During
COVID
COVID, and even at night, people were being evicted so that
Nairobi Stock Exchange,
so that Northlands can be built.
Mm.
And during that time, guys, we are being told you need to stay at home, but COVID campaigns BBI campaigns have to go on. And even the fact, the abrasiveness, the way they were so arrogant in the way, they would tell people, if you don't get Huduma number, you're not a Kenyan, we'll deport you to Canada.
Arrogance
and things like
back then was a problem, but arrogance is now is okay.
Because at that point, we didn't know the arrogance of 2023. We knew the arrogance of 2020.
So are you willing right now on record to
Yeah, I know Ruto's government is not the best government. Even them, they have their
stop
own
using
flaws.
best in the same sentence with Ruto's government.
Okay, it's fine. However you want. You can use the worst term you want. I'm just telling you, Mureti, that at that point, I had not experienced a Ruto government. I was working with what I'm seeing.
So what is your opinion right now?
Before getting to that, I want first
No, answer that question.
No, I'm going to get there. But before that, I'm saying, seeing the Raila Uhuru's last tenure, was mind-boggling. I used to see him, the things he does, and I used to wonder, is this the same guy, previous 2017, who would come and say that the government harass Watu? This guy had no problem with people being beaten in Mombasa. Like, he was not complaining when people get beaten in Mombasa. He was not like people were getting. I remember on Thika Road, barabaras nafungwa 10 people sleep on the roads, and there was such an outcry. Businesses were suffering, and this guy his own friend at Keroche was getting shut down, and we all know, everybody in this country knows, it's a political thing. It's not even
So-
a business or taxation.
So let me ask you a question.
No.
This
no,
issue of Keroche,
Moretti.
Charles,
No. It's not even the
Because
issue of
you're just-
Keroche. Moretti.
I feel like you're just throwing-
I'm not talking about Keroche itself. I'm just talking about everything that was going on at that point. I wish I saw the previous Raila. That was the Raila we wanted. The Raila after that seemed to be very different to us.
So now the question is, then if you have a fundamental problem, this thing of one, the weak person being, oppressed, two, inconsistency in terms of treatment, three, you brought up the issue of
I mean, just
all these issues. So if these are fundamental issues, then how comes you're not as offended by the same things that are being done by the current government?
Okay.
A government of shares, a government of a certain cadre of people, a certain group of people.
yeah.
How comes you don't have the same? How are you having selective?
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't. I think regarding Gachagwa's statements of shares, it's not a good statement. I'm going to admit that. I also admit I don't like the way Ruto is still always promising things. I think he'd rather just shut up and do some implementations and let people see if they're going to work or not. He should leave it other people to say the work he's doing. At the same time, I just saw that there's Faith Kipyegon broke 2 records in 1 week and got a state reception. That doesn't happen in this. It didn't used to happen. I think Uhuru did it, but Kenyans used to complain our athletes are not getting that kind of treatment.
Wow,
And that's a good thing.
my goodness.
And
The bar for this guy is so low, and they
no, it's not so low.
Uh-huh.
Imagine, even last week I saw content creators being invited to state, and it was a big thing, and you could see them talking about it all over social media. It's not the kind of thing that used to happen in previous governments.
Uhuru's time, right?
No.
Uhuru has never.
It looks like a small thing to you, but
no,
to be
because
honest,
Uhuru used to do these things.
oh,
Yeah, Uhuru was someone who was very pro content creators, was someone who was so pro Kenyans. That's why Kenyans on social media loved Uhuru. Yeah, because he's a man of the people. He's someone that is very, very relatable. When Ruto does these things, we see that it's just pretentious. Because in one breath, you're telling these content creators that you're going to tax them.
Moretti,
going to
let's
tax
have
them
to be
with
paid
Jesus
one way or another.
Okay.
And you see, the thing is, right now where we are as a country, we are in massive debt, and you have to.
To me, debt has never been a problem. We just need, because Ruto made a promise that you'll not be taking debt, and I think he's taking that promise too seriously to the detriment of Kenyans. It's okay to take debt. There's no country that doesn't have
Taking it
debt.
too seriously is a bad thing.
No, because and that's what I'm saying, to the detriment of the Kenyan population. There's no country that is not financing their budgets with a bit of debt here, a bit of debt there.
But you have to look at.
But now you're going to tax insurance compensation just to prove a point. It's incredible. It's insane. It's madness. It's complete insanity. And 50 CSs. Are you kidding me, Charles?
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. It's not a good thing.
Are you kidding me? And then Yamune this, Yamune that. Honestly, Uhuru's government was very intentional about having a bit of a distributed.
To be honest, I actually think that there are some uncomfortable truths with politics that most people are not going to make peace with, and even it's not that I like them, but I would understand them, especially because the things are, maybe read or just heard from people. Because I don't know if you know, I've told you I'm a great fan of Thomas Sowell, right?
Mm.
And I think he gives three things about politicians that are obvious, and not that are obvious, that are critical to them. And when a politician gets elected, his priority number 1 is to get re-elected. His priority number 2 is himself, and then further down the line is the people. And that's not just Kenya. That he was talking about US politicians, and I think it's actually for the entire world. When Ruto comes into power, his number one priority is how to get elected in 2027.
But he's doing a very shit job at that.
Just chill.
Yeah.
And for him to get elected, to be honest, politically speaking, you don't always have to do a good job. And that's the sad thing about politics. What you need to have is like have a cabal of people who will make sure that on the ground you're still famous, you're still popular, and you still can beat your biggest challenger in 2027. And just using that logic, you can understand why he chose 50 CSs. He's not actually. He doesn't even himself probably does. He probably doesn't like it, but he doesn't probably like it. But he has to reward his loyalists, and that's because if he doesn't do that by 2027, they may have switched sides or something. He just needs to impress them, and then their own interest. That's why you probably hear of corruption cases going forward, like someone has been swindled money. And that's true not just for him, even for Uhuru, even for Kibaki, even for
No, Charles.
Just chill.
This is biggest cabinet. This is the biggest cabinet that
It's
this
fine.
country has ever had since independence.
I'm telling you the three things.
Kenya has never had such a huge cabinet.
Mureti, I'm telling you the uncomfortable truths about politics that personally I have learned and have helped me to understand a politician. And once you think about it that way, you'll understand why.
No, I'm not an idiot. Obviously, I know
just
what you're
wait
saying.
for me to finish.
Charles,
just wait I finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
And once you understand that, I think you'll realize that politicians are not going to save your life. They're not going to improve your life. They gradually do their work. And what you have to do is just focus on yourself and your work, and whatever policy adjustments or alignments that happen that are going to be positive, fine and benefit. If they're not, just remember politicians are not here to always for you. In fact, I think democracy is broken, not just in Kenya, but across the world. I don't think it's serving people's interests as it should be. It's not that politicians all over the world are working to the best interests of their people.
So
I think politicians are just a special group of people who we should really be skeptical about them. If possible, maybe get an alternative way of governance for the entire world.
Are you saying you're for autocracy, Charles?
I'm not
Are you
for
supporting dictatorship?
No,
Charles.
when you think about it, there have been kings before it has changed to democracy. There have been, council of a senate before during Caesar's time. I think it's time to evolve to something else. We may not have discovered it right now, but we need to evolve because democracy as it works right now, I think it has its own weaknesses, and I think politicians have found weaknesses in it that they're taking advantage of to the detriment of the people they ought to serve.
To close this issue, so what you're saying is that Ruto's government is broken?
It's not just
in principle.
You see now
I'm saying he's a politician.
When you phrase that question, You see the way you phrase that question, and even the way this podcast started, Charles is a Ruto supporter.
You are.
What I want you to see is that I really am not. I'm going to analyze all politicians. I'm not going to favor one over the other. I'm going to choose one based on the things I know in my mind. How I've analyzed information, how I understand a politician, how I understand their policies, the things I've seen them do before, and the things I do. So based on that, in my analysis, the way you arrived at Raila. This is my parting shot. This is my parting shot. I think you need to respect that the way you approached it as Raila, as your preferred presidential candidate, is, people who voted for Ruto are not also insane. Some people may have not even put logic into it, but I think I try to put my reasoning together to arrive at this person. Yeah, and we are not psychophans. It's not like I'm going to sit here and say Ruto is doing everything perfect. No. Even if Raila was president, I also wouldn't support him or oppose him just because because he was president. I really don't care who's president or not, as long as they're doing something that benefits everybody.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, Charles, I'll say this. Parting shot. I think you've consistently proven to me that you're not the sharpest person in any room.
Do you know I've not even attacked you during this whole time?
No, it's okay, it's fine.
Why would you keep on saying, I know I'm not the sharpest person. Why do you have to tell everyone in the podcast?
Anyway, and the level of naivety that you have is unparalleled. You're almost like a child with a beard, which is very weird also at the same time.
Okay.
Of course, you should focus on coding because
this is his parting shot. His parting shot is just throwing shade and insults.
Yeah.
Just violence.
I don't know if I know programming enough to know if you do even a good job. So you're safe from my from my scrutiny because I don't know programming. But
I'm not actually as good, to be honest.
I'm not surprised. But at the same time,
Gives you satisfaction.
yeah. But I will just say that just think about your life, Charles. Be better. Like honestly, change your ways. You know.
Is this part going to be in the podcast?
Anyway, my parting shot. My parting shot is.
No, you can actually add it. I don't mind him exposing his other side.
So anyway, I mean, I agree with you. Politicians are not our friends, and they've never been anywhere in the world because their incentives are very different from ours, right? But at the same time, we shouldn't allow that that analysis that you're saying that you had for the politician to completely blind our analysis of who these politicians are and our objectivity when it comes to dealing. So it's very critical that at least even amidst the chaos of the politics, we are. Yeah. So that's my point. That we need to be in a place where we are willing to be open-minded, to also accept when we make mistakes in our selections, and be willing to put in the work to fix them. Yeah, but anyway, thanks so much, guys, for listening in today. This was just a random episode. Don't think so much into it. It was just me and Charles. Stop doing that freaking weird. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. I hope to see you next time. Bye.